I am Nick Shell, a certified Enneagram coach. This is my favorite book. You can click that link, takes you to Amazon. If you're wanting to understand Enneagram better, I highly recommend this book. I also highly recommend taking a free 10-minute Enneagram test on the Cloverleaf site, which is where I got my certification from. There's a link right there. And if you really want to go big, you could even get certified like I did. There's a link for that as well. I'm a big believer in this thing. It's really enhanced my quality of life. Here I am filming this on my 41st birthday, and I will tell you, my quality of life personally has improved so much now that I am understanding myself and those around me. So here's what we want to look at today. I call it Enneagram to go. That's what I call it. So I went through this book and I did research online and thought, if we were to look at, say, half a dozen traits or so of each Enneagram and just look at a person from that perspective, what would they look like? So I want to share a few examples. First, I want to read through all these, and then you can kind of see what this looks like. So starting with Enneagram number 1, the Reformer. If you were to just do a snapshot of what they would look like, Enneagram 1, rational, idealistic, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, perfectionist. Number 2, the Helper, caring, interpersonal, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, possessive. Number 3, the Achiever, success-oriented, pragmatic, adaptive, excelling, driven, image conscious. Number 4, the Individualist, sensitive, withdrawn, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, temperamental. Number 5, the Investigator, intense, cerebral, perceptive, innovative, secretive, isolated. Number 6, the Loyalist, committed, security-oriented, engaging, responsible, anxious, suspicious. Number 7, Enthusiast, busy, fun-loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, scattered. 8, Challenger, powerful, dominating, self-confident, decisive, willful, confrontational. Number 9, the Peacemaker, easygoing, self-effacing, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, complacent. So there you go. Now, let's put this in perspective. We know officially I am an 8 with a 7 wing. So in theory, if we take a snapshot of who I am as an Enneagram coach, and you're watching my video, here's who I am. Now in this video, you can see this. You can see it if you were married to me, if you lived in this house with me, if you were a coworker, you would ultimately see this with me. Here's how you would describe Nick Shell. First, I would start with 8 because it's my main Enneagram. How do you describe Nick Shell? Well, he's a challenger. He's powerful, he's dominating, he's self-confident, he's decisive, he's willful, and he's confrontational, as he needs to be. But also, secondary to that, he's also an enthusiast. He's busy, he's fun-loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, scattered. Maybe not so much those last couple, but ultimately, that's a snapshot of who I am. What about my wife? So we thought my wife was a 9. Turns out that's her growth personality. She's actually a 6'5", and man, that makes a lot more sense to her and me. So for my wife, for example, here's who she'd be. First, the Loyalist. She'd be committed, security-oriented, engaging, responsible, anxious, suspicious. And then her winged 5, she'd be intense, cerebral, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. So here's where I'm going with this. So us as a married couple, I am someone who craves power and control. And she is someone who craves security. So you can imagine that's a lot of intensity. We're literally a power couple. We're very intense. We know what we want. We get things done. And there's a lot that we can offer to each other in our marriage and to our kids, raising our household here. But ultimately, you can imagine, with all that power, you have to kind of watch out because, it can kind of butt heads at times, right? If you don't kind of know your role. But now that we know that makes a lot more sense. So what I would say is, have some fun with this. I mean, ultimately, and if my notes even show up here, what you could do is do a freeze frame of this and ultimately just kind of see, okay, out of all 9, look at your main one and then look at your wing. Just pause that if you need to. And then you can have a good idea of who you really are. But I don't think anybody who knows me to any extent would argue that I'm not powerful, dominating, self-confident, decisive, willful, confrontational, plus busy, fun-loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. I mean, again, maybe I'm not so scattered or distractible. I don't think so much because I think the 8 balances that out. But to put it in perspective, it'd be hard to confuse me with a peacemaker. Number 9, it'd be hard to confuse me with being a person who's easygoing, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, complacent. That's not me. I'm not a 9. We could also say that I'm not an individualist. I'm not sensitive, withdrawn, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, temperamental. You could see me that way, but that's not fundamentally who I am. So fundamentally, I'm these traits. So why don't you have some fun with it? Check it out for yourself. And again, you can look at the description of the video. I got all kinds of stuff there if you would like to continue your journey as a person who's in touch with their Enneagram. Your comments also belong right here.